Gentlemen, I'd like to start the show by pointing out a comment in the chat. Jason Ewing said, Brian, if you're listening, nope, definitely not. Bring back the purple mohawk.
I don't remember it being purple, but I do remember a mohawk.
He said, bring back the purple mohawk you never had, but half of us remember. I did not realize I was part of the Mandela effect. I did not realize I was Fruit Loops or Nelson Mandela's funeral or the Berenstain Bears. I did not realize that in the alternate universe that we all existed in at one point, I had a purple mohawk. I did have a mohawk. It just wasn't purple.
Not in this universe.
No, but I hope somebody took pictures in the other universe because I bet that looked great when I still had all my hair. Oh, man. We started real late, so I feel like we shouldn't keep these guys waiting. You guys just ready to start the show? You want to do this thing?
Let's do it.
Let go.
Or do you want to play Where's Waldo with this thumbnail?
But first, an ad from our sponsors.
Oh, hey, MeUndies. All right, let's go. This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live every single Wednesday with or without the man himself. Right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure, but don't worry, we also care about your oral pleasure. Suck it, baby, because our friend Rod Pop puts this up on podcast services of your choice. The numbers are pretty good over there. Let's make them better. Make sure you rate it and do stuff. Put your finger up its butt. I think that's what Miles is insinuating.
That was exactly what I was insinuating. Yep.
Clearly. I actually
good podcast platforms.
Yeah, I don't ever since all my favorite podcasts became a video podcast. I haven't listened to audio podcasts, and so I have no idea what happens over there. It's a big mystery. My name is Brian Pofnishan, right here without Parole, and joining me this week in the middle is AJ from PSVR Underground. That's not how it goes. The Underground. PSVR Underground. I forgot. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you, AJ.
That's PC Underground, sir. No. What is up, Brian? What is up, Miles? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Briar J, everybody. It is nice to be here. And I know. I've been covering PCVR extensively. Hey, man. That PC adapter by Sony is pretty sweet with what it can do. But I have happy news. Happy news for all those that have been mad at me or just, feeling really sad about being left out by not having a PC, of course. I've got some good news, and that is I will be live streaming No Man's Sky, the brand new update, right after the show. This is the first time I've touched my PS5 in probably over a month, maybe a month and a half. Pretty much since the last No Man's Sky update, which didn't feel like it was that long ago.
Your poor PS5, man. I'm surprised it didn't file for divorce.
No, it's been abandoned for a hot minute, but of course,
it's been a while.
For 2 generations now, No Man's Sky Hello Games has kept that thing alive.
And how good is it going to look on the PS5 Pro, AJ?
Oh, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to buy one unless they say that there is going to be there has to be some, significant thing with plenty of games that support it. If it's one game, I ain't falling for that shit this time, Sony.
What if they say? What if they say PlayStation 5 Pro? The only way to play Farpoint 2.
Oh, I might buy it.
Right? They're like, but no other PSVR 2 games, just Farpoint 2.
No, then fuck off. I've got my PSVR. I've still got my PSVR 1 hooked up. I can play it now. I'll be like, fuck you, Sony. I can play Farpoint right now.
Yeah.
With an aim controller.
Yep. Just what the PSVR 2 is missing. That's the only feature we don't have on it. It's an aim support. And on the right-hand side of the screen, from the other side of the ocean, it's Miles Dyer from youtube.com/Miles.
Indeed, Brian. Whatever that dog talk is. Hi, Gamecats. Hope you're doing good. Wonderful to be back with AJ. We haven't co-hosted together in what feels like forever, but it's good to be back again, dude.
2019
with my
before the pandemic. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, from a prior era. But no, much love to be back with you, dude. My metal brother in arms. It's been a good week. Haven't played as much VR as I'd like to. Always, every conversation I have with people, it always feels like a little jibe of, you can play mods on your Quest. And then I'm like, but I don't have a PC. Oh, you don't have a PC? No. And then there's that silence and awkwardness. Yeah, I'm going to need to get a PC sooner or later.
Yes. Join the dark side.
But I will be getting a PS5 Pro when it comes out.
Nice.
It will be happening.
I'll be interested to see what kind of benefits. I hope that there's some benefits to using that with PSVR2. It would be nice.
Yeah,
I really started thinking a lot about it when I was playing Gran Turismo 7, because Gran Turismo 7 is an awesome looking game, but it doesn't look quite as sharp as other games. And I just feel that maybe, you can optimize in the development side, but if you get given a lot more horsepower, it gives even more of an excuse for them to patch it with the PS5 Pro patch. And for me, like a lot of expensive peripherals and hardware, Gran Turismo 7 would definitely justify it for me.
Yeah, I'd like to see stuff just natively get better. I don't know how much of the stuff is using dynamic resolution, but it'd just be nice that if it was playing on. Sorry, tornado's meowing from somewhere. Oh, there you are. Here, come up here. Come on.
Honestly, really, yeah. It would be nice to not have to run reprojection, but that is going to be. I mean, a game like Gran Turismo 7 without reprojection, that would be pretty tough. I mean. The best way I could see it maybe happening. I mean, eye tracked foveated rendering is that is a genius design for the PSVR2 to have, and because foveated rendering is how PCs are able to handle a lot of graphically intensive games. That's really crucial. It's not crucial for everything, but yeah, that is a really awesome card that Sony had up their sleeve with PSVR2, and really, I'd just like to see that get applied to everything more and more.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, could red matter look any better? I think it's the limit, isn't it? The same with all these games. Can't imagine it looking any better.
It literally cannot. It runs at it's a 6,000 something. It's 6,000 by 6,000 resolution, which is 3 times the headset.
Yeah, some of these games look absolutely beautiful. I don't expect to see any improvements, any updates. But yeah, just basically just limiting what the developers have to do, right? This is sort of what we, in a roundabout way, expected to see a little bit of this generation with the hybrid model that never really kind of came into fruition. We expected there to be just this. Sony is kind of notorious at this point for making games on the PlayStation platform really difficult. And so I can't imagine that doing a pro update for these things is going to be super easy on anybody, right? I'm wondering if they have to go through the whole certification process again. I don't remember that being a conversation that we had last gen, so I don't know if that's a thing or not. But it would be really nice, we thought that maybe the hybrid model would make it easy for developers to bring their games into VR. And then, now with the Pro being the way that it is, you would hope that it would just automatically improve games in a certain way without too much work on the developer's part. But again, this does not seem to be the way things are going. Guys,
be glad that Sony has this extensive certification process that they force developers to make sure these games run perfectly and everything, because on PC, having played a lot of PC games now, there are several games that I will not name that have these horrible optimization issues, and just no matter how strong your PC is, the fucking game will have issues, and that's super frustrating, especially when people are investing 1,000 to thousands of dollars into a PC rig.
Right.
So be very, very thankful that Sony has these guidelines that developers have to stick to.
I mean, yes and no, right? Like it's whenever we talk to developers, they're like, oh, obviously we want to make sure that the thing runs well. But there's a bunch of like just really kind of silly parts of the certification process that hold things up, make things more difficult. I've actually heard one developer in particular say it made our game dumber. Like that's such a great wording.
What does that even mean?
Well, you'll know when you play
was
it.
always, my favorite was always that they make them like unplug it, plug it back in like 100 times, and then try to continue resume playing the game and see what happens. That's always been my favorite one.
Amazing.
I'm like, damn, like that is very thorough.
I want to get back onto the top of the tip list here, so I'm going to cover Miles up for a second. Look what I learned to do. While he's now Gamecast, specifically White Tiger with the Canadian $5 tip, says, love it how last week Miles had a super busy day and work to do after Gamescast, but ended up doing a 3-hour stream. Also, Sony so quiet on the PSVR2 front. Yeah,
Sounds quiet on the everything front.
Listen, can I just say, I know I've said this before, but I feel like we go long periods of time without me saying it publicly. I definitely have the greatest crew for Gamescast ever. This has been amazing. We definitely do some really long streams, and I know that like last week it looked like Wes was falling asleep midstream because he had just been going nonstop for days as always. Miles is on a completely different time schedule to kind of accommodate customers around the world, including.
It's like 4 a.m. where Miles is right now.
Like it
feels like 4 a.m.
It's always 4 a.m. in where Miles is
somewhere in the world,
right? So I just want to say, like, these guys, I love giving them shit, and I love, but they show up every week, and we have awesome shows every single week, whether there's something to talk about or not. So quick shout out to Wes, AJ, and Miles. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you for being here.
And just to add to that, like, I do get my energy from hanging out with you guys and the chat, just like the positive energy and the good discussion. Like, we're talking about what we love. And so it's nice to step away, and dive into all this good stuff. So, yeah, I appreciate you all.
The second part of Waleed's tip, though, I find very interesting. He says Sony is very quiet on the VR2 front. Again, quiet on all fronts, right? As always, this is a very strange time for Sony. It sounds like they're about to launch a PlayStation 5 Pro within months from now. We are expecting a showcase or something that used to be a showcase and is now a state of play. The rumors are rampant as always. So it feels like the hose has been kinked and the water's about to flow, right? Like we're about to get that explosion of water all over your face. I'm making an ejaculation joke, AJ. I'm about to come on you. Or Sony's about to come on all of us. I think that's the joke, right? Did we just lose all of our subscribers?
It's very becoming of you.
Goodness.
Yeah. Oh, Miles, is it Friday already? So anyway, so I do think it would be great to hear from Sony talk about PSVR 2 again. My hope is that they just announce something for 2025, first party game for 2025. That's all I really need, because 2024, as we talked about last week, is fucking jam packed, right? And not only were there 30 games, I guess about maybe 25 of them we were really interested in that we talked about last week, 25 games that we're really interested in coming for the rest of the year, but there's also a bunch of games that are supposedly still coming this year with no release date. And so we could have 30 or 40 or 50 games coming over the next three or 4 months. So
come again.
Just keep in mind,
Brian,
keep in mind that they have new leadership. This is a very unique time period. Like Sony is an absolute mess right now. And
what are you talking about, Concord?
It's been a very rough transition for them this generation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've shifted to new leadership. There are completely new, like they basically hit the reset button halfway through their generation. And so like this new leadership has been in place for 5 months. So even if they're making the most grandiose of plans, like I don't think we're going to see those for a while. Maybe if we're lucky, we're going to see some projects that didn't get canceled, that have been in the works, some things that were held on to that were good enough to, stay in development. But yeah, I think they're going to be leaning heavily on third parties, for the most part, and then there may be some exceptions here and there.
Yeah, listen, I guess my point was that, like, I can't wait to see a Sony showcase or state of play because again, as Waleed said, they've been quiet. But they do not need to release a new game this year for PSVR2. They do not need to announce anything surprise coming Q4 because we are jam packed. However, 2025, we are seeing games slip into 2025 that I'm really interested in. So, like, we do have games to look forward to, but it would be really, really nice to look forward to a first party Sony game for PSVR2. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a hybrid. I don't care if it's a new game. Just something, so we can say, hey, this PSVR2.
Something to look forward to, man. That's really important. It's really, really important to not only have games to play, but have games to look forward to as well. That's literally how they crushed it last gen. But again, with the whole
headset's more versatile than ever, right? People are saying, "Oh my god, I got this headset and it's amazing!" I got it at an amazing deal because I got it when it was on sale for $350, right? And so they're checking it out on the PC. They're playing exclusive PS5 games, and it's just they just need to keep going. That momentum has been really good. They just need to keep it going. And so again, there's the rest of the world has not seen this sale, but it could happen at any time.
Well, I do think the PC adapter has bought them a hefty amount of time, along with the major third-party titles that are releasing for the remainder of the year.
The next tip came to us from, look what I learned. Ace Gamer, the Gamercat with the 1337. Thank you, sir. Says, too much gray. Early bird gets the worm today. Hashtag tornado needs a Gamecat hoodie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not enough green in chat. A lot of gray names. Is that what he's talking about, or have I just been watching too much Twitch?
There is a lot of gray today.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray. We also got the Gamecat Andrew Ehrenreich with the $10 tip. Says, "Yo, summer's over. Friday's my birthday. I got a Steam Deck and Astrobot arriving that day. Also marks my 1 year anniversary. Sirens on my end with my PSVR2. Got next week off from work. Plenty of time to spend gaming. Holy crap, the Gamecat Andrew Ehrenreich. That was a doozy of a tip. You packed a lot of information into there. Shout out to Andrew for his preemptive birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh yeah, man, happy birthday.
Ace Gamer, this is what it's
too bad when you spend your entire time off gaming, it's gonna go by like it's gonna feel like a day.
Right. Ace Gamer, Gamercat gifted 5 without Pro memberships. This is what he was talking about. 5 more people in the chat are green today. Enjoy it. It's a nice color. It looks good on you. Does not make your butt look fat. Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat with the Australian $2 tip says, your PC VRing has been welcomed, AJ. I'm not going to heart that.
Thank you. It was fun, man. I've been playing a lot of shit and I got a lot more stuff. I'll be streaming very, very soon that I'm super excited to show off. But yeah, I played like Pacific Drive, really good game.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Dude, yeah, super sick. And then Aliens Fireteam Elite. It's been honestly, it's been a blast. Making guides over here again. It's been super fun. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Pacific Drive, I feel like is it's a real shame that we didn't get an official VR version of that on PSVR2. That feels like a game that should be in VR. Maybe more so than flat screen.
Yeah. Now I got to figure out a way to make developers like take notice of this and be like, oh, maybe we should. I got to figure out how to make content that can put pressure on developers to add VR modes to their games, and then I'll put it all together. That's a tricky one though. That's gonna be tough.
Listen, if there was a way to do that, we would have figured that out 8 years ago.
If only there was a studio that converted flat games to VR that I knew.
Yeah.
If only.
And more of them are popping up, which is nice. I've been getting messages from other studios other than Flat to VR, who really, who seem to like the Flat to VR business model, and so I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of those over the next couple of years, and that's
I hope so.
Reassuring, man, because we need all the help we can get. I do not think the future of VR is nearly as secure as most people think it is.
The revolution has begun,
guys. Let's start the show the way we start every show with AJ around here. And that is thanking a very specific group of person.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you telling that Sony was going to come on everybody. That's right, Brian. We would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing the name to something GameCat, something GameCat related, or something GameCat adjacent, as you and something GameCat adjacent like to say. I still got it. And this week we have one new GameCat to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo.
Yeah,
only one this week.
Just
Come
one,
on, guys.
People are really slacking around here.
A bunch of slackers, but it's a good one, and that is the VRAF Underground Stranger Gamecat.
Bing.
We need. That's really good. It's got Brian in there. It's got Underground. It's got. I can see that being kind of hard to cram some some miles in there, but make it happen. VRF Underground Stranger Gamecat. I put like a GameCat.
Well, just spell strange. Just spell stranger with a Y.
That's true. It's got the awkward pause in there at the start. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Dire. You could put Dire in there somewhere, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe this is a subtle way of being like, "Fuck you, Miles."
I mean, we're not criticizing. We love it. We love it.
I'm criticizing.
Try harder next time.
Try harder. Exactly. Guys, if you change your YouTube name to something the Gamecat or anything Gamecat related or Gamecat adjacent, please let us know by putting a comment under any Without Parole video with the hashtag Gamecat. It's very, very easy. Hashtag Gamecat. And we'll find it next week and give you a shout out if AJ's on the show. We only do it when AJ's here because apparently I screw this up every time. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Come as you are. Come as you are.
Or don't come at all.
Come sail away.
I always hear Eric Cartman's version of that from Chef Aid.
Guys, while you're doing stuff like changing your name to Gamecat, make sure you click the links in the description below. Go subscribe to all my co-hosts. We got Wes over Virtual Strangers, Miles over at youtube.com/Miles, AJ at PSVR Underground. These guys are doing awesome things. Miles is trying to play every PSVR2 game ever made. Wes and his friends are covering all VR, and AJ is obsessed with PC VR, but don't worry, it's a phase. He'll grow out of it.
No Man's Sky tonight.
Actually, I will say last week I did a recap of Gamescom. So if anyone was interested to hear about Gamescom and what it was like, I did it, and a lot of people found it interesting. So yeah.
Yeah, that seemed like a blast, man. That seemed like kind of what we had wanted PAX to be in a way. Although I would trade nothing. I would never trade anything for our experience at PAX. But in terms of the panel or the VR games available, yeah, that would be the one thing maybe.
When I saw that announced, that was exactly where my thought went. Was just like us in a line behind the PSVR2, cleaning it, and stuff like that. And it's like you go from that to this real solidarity with the home of XR, which was just so impressive. There was a real sense of solidarity there.
And you got to play all the games, Batman, Behemoth.
I from all the work I was doing, I literally had to cram in all my gaming into an hour after everything was shutting down. So I played Metro for 10 minutes.
Ooh.
And I took the headset off and they were like, "Have you had enough?" I was like, "No, I've got to go somewhere." But I can't confirm or deny. All I can say is it was a game. It was a game.
Oh.
It was a game.
Okay.
I knew it. I knew it.
Sorry, yeah. I don't know if that was beyond embargo, but hopefully I haven't broken it.
Yeah, big spoilers. Big spoilers today.
It's a game.
Did you guys get to play Memoriam at Gamescom?
Oh, sorry, at Gamescom,
no. Okay.
I didn't. It looked awesome though.
Yeah, nice. I talked
the creators of Hubris had a game that I really wanted to try out. It was a mixed reality game that supposedly was really stunning. Mixed reality, I just have to say, is something that I absolutely love with my Quest 3, and obviously that's never going to be something that happens with PSVR 2. I can't even see them doing a mid-gen refresh, but I do think there is a lot of benefits to it. Because what is the game that came out on PSVR 2 recently by Maze Theory? Was it Inside?
Infinite Inside.
Infinite Inside.
Sorry, Infinite Inside, yeah. Which obviously it had a big mixed reality component in the Quest one, so obviously that was lacking in the PSVR 2 one. But I guess the question I'd have on that is, Could mixed reality ever work with a wired headset?
Yeah.
Yeah, like fully. I think it can. I just didn't know. People always associate it with you need the freedom and that. And I'm not saying that to do the usual like, oh, having a cable is terrible.
No.
Like I don't mind the cable, but
I think just like wireless headsets, it all comes down to your play space. And I think most people like me are very limited with their play space in VR. And so it's like, how much can you really move around, why or not? And the answer is probably only the span of a couple feet without running into something or running the risk of punching something accidentally. So I think that's more it than anything else.
Yeah, that's true.
I brought up Memoreum because I talked to the developers very briefly recently and said, hey, this was a very cool trailer. I saw that you were like, showing it off at Gamescom and everybody seemed to really get a kick out of it. I saw Looper in the chat say he played it, thought it was cool. And I was like, why no PSVR2? And they're like, oh, totally in the cards. But it just sounds like it's further out than the rest of the versions. And it's going to take time and money and work. And this is like one of those like one step at a time type things. So if anybody's like, hey, why isn't this coming to PSVR2? The answer is it should be. Likely will. I'm just going to take some time. Got to go where the money is first, and that's always Quest. But like I was saying, while you're subscribing to all my co-hosts and clicking links, make sure you come join us over on Discord. The link for that is in the description below. That's generally where I am these days. I know you guys know I've left Twitter, but I'm also over on BlueSky now. So go check out the Without Parole BlueSky account. I'm going to be much more active over there. And been talking to a lot of VR developers ever since Twitter got banned in Brazil. And there's a lot of people who are like, of course. Yeah, and it sounds like it might get banned in other countries as well. And so people are gonna start looking for other places to be. And it was tough for a while, man. But are people going to Hive? Are people going to the Mastodon? We didn't know.
What about Hive? Yeah.
And
Threads is the Instagram one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and again, as I left Facebook years ago, and guess what? No one gave a shit when I left Facebook. No one gave a shit when I left Facebook. They're all like, "We understand." And honestly, most people when I said I was leaving Twitter, they were like, "We understand. It's fucking terrible." So BlueSky's been really nice so
it's
far.
Rough. I've definitely been this close to leaving Twitter, but I'm just gonna kind of hopefully just weather the political storm that's going on there right now, and hopefully things after the political season dies down, it'll calm down a little bit, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
it's always been a good source for me to connect with developers, to connect with developers and all the PSVR stuff. It's always been a great resource for that. But man, my timeline is just, oh my God, it is overloaded with just unbearable crap every single day right now.
Yeah. And it's not even that. It's I have push notifications, or I've turned them off now, and I get push notifications for some of the most extreme accounts like I don't even follow, and for me it's just like Elon Musk is just using it to push out whatever messages he wants to everyone on it. Like he owns the platform. That's how it feels. And I'm someone who used to be a big fan of Elon Musk. I still think he's done a lot of good, but like seeing him in his unadulterated form, it's just so depressing to see. How so much money and power means that if you have a bad idea, you can subsidize it.
Yeah,
and just keep doing it.
More sirens over here. Again, I didn't want to make this into like a big political thing, but I don't.
It ties in, man.
I don't think algorithms pushing hate speech is political. I think that's just fucking gross. And I'm like, listen, like people are like, oh, you're gonna lose your 10,000 followers. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Fucking sometimes you got to stand up for what's right. And money doesn't matter, and subscriber count doesn't matter, and follower count doesn't matter. And if you think it matters to me, then you have not been paying attention to this channel for the last 8 years, because that's never been what matters. So I'd much rather support the people who need the support than do that. Moving on, come follow me on BlueSky.
Before you, I was about to say before you move on, you were talking about Brazilian developers. So is BlueSky the one that they are generally talking about moving to, or
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like at some point everyone's just like, well, let's just do this. Like it seemed like there was just this collective decision where it was like, well, we don't know which one everyone's going to, so we don't know which one to embrace. Yeah. And now it's like, well, just BlueSky, because it's so similar to Twitter, and like, they're bringing video features over. Hopefully they'll bring polls over soon enough, because polls are always a fun thing to do on social media. And those always get great responses from people. So
That was Jack Dorsey's new project, right? The original founder of Twitter. Yeah.
Right. And it'll take time. It's not gonna be feature rich. That like Twitter took years to become. I'm sure it'll take some time for Blue Sky to become that. And on top of that, like, I don't know, there's something very cool about growing with a platform. Right. And as new features become available, being like, hey, we were here from when this thing was super primitive, and like, we grow our follower base with it, and we grow, and as the platform becomes bigger and better, we get to, utilize those features as we go. I think there's something very cool about that. But again, if no one wants to go to Blue Sky, that's fine too. It just doesn't matter to me. This is just an extra thing that we do. The only thing that's ever mattered to me has been YouTube and the work we put in here in YouTube and the reviews that I do here. The Discord, it's a fun place to hang out, but I like to let the work speak for itself. It's not about being like, oh, I have all this clout because I've got a massive fucking follow. It's like, who the fuck cares?
The whole irony was I had Twitter deleted off my phone for a good 8 years, and it was one of the best things I ever did, especially in my days of doing more like political content. It was just such a drain. You're always getting attacked for who you are as opposed to the things you're talking about, and it's all about that clout of owning people and destroying people, and I hated all that. But what made me download it back onto my phone was the VR community, and over this period, I actually love, for the most part, until more recently, I loved using X because I managed to get it in a way that on my feed, for the most part, although I follow lots of different people, it's mainly just a great way to talk to developers with VR games, and the discussions around like the hashtags around PSVR2, and I found that to be really, really wonderful, and actually the best I've felt about Twitter/X in a long time. And it's just such a shame that despite being brought back for that reason, I now feel like it's turning back the wrong way again. So
I worked my ass off to build my just like 3,000 followers on there, but I made a lot of connections with a lot of developers and stuff, and I've promoted my Twitter for a long time, and I'm just like, like I said, I'm just gonna kind of weather the storm, and hopefully it can get back to just being what I loved it for, is just quick news, like quick. It was so much easier for me while I'm, busy juggling 50,000 things in my normal life to make and give everybody the information they know with like 100 characters, like really quickly. And so I want to get back to that, but gonna have to wait for the shitstorm to die down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get back on track here. As much as I love getting off track,
we never talk about politics here. That's a rare moment right there. But yes, back on track. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we totally understand, man. We have a very diverse audience, and the last thing we want to do is create division. That I feel like that's what politics are all about, is creating a division. And what been trying to do for years is bring people back together, and that's what I care about here. So if it bothers anybody that we're talking about this stuff, I apologize. But ultimately, we're just trying to do the right thing and keep you informed as we go. Speaking of keeping you informed, there is a big new No Man's Sky update happening. I think it's already live, correct? And
yes!
AJ will be streaming it after the show. And this is the Aquarius update. And boy, oh boy, if anything was going to bring me back to No Man's Sky, it's going to be fishing. I think this trailer looks really good. This trailer looks really good.
It looks really good, doesn't it? Really, really good. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. The update includes epic freighter battles, customizable staff, robotic race, Atlas multi-tool. I only know what half of this means. Holo displays, news story, weapon trading, Voyager's EXP.
Expedition.
I figured, I just didn't want to guess. Space combat depth, torpedo frigates, ship trenches, Twitch campaign, private faction, and PSVR2 and Switch visuals.
Yay! Excellent. I can't wait to see this.
There's no sign of Hello Games scaling back.
Oh my god.
There was it wasn't mentioned in the notes or the patch notes or anything, but part of the this update I can't remember the main PSVR2 engineers at Hello Games. I think his name is Martin. But he said that like they also updated like the clouds and stuff. Which in the last update, part of the like it was really fun to like just fly through the clouds, and but they did have some like some artifacts like kind of on them and stuff, and looked blurry and didn't look clean. And he said they are fully they're updated with the foveated rendering completely now, so the clouds should look really really nice now, and that's
Awesome.
that's gonna be really cool. But yeah, man, fishing, dude. We're surprisingly really big fans of fishing games. And this is something I'm really excited about for No Man's Sky to have. But not only that, I mean, they're adding depth to the ocean, like the oceans, and the there's like deep sea diving and oh, dude, there could be like whales, there could be like giant sea creatures deep down below, a megalodon. There could be some really interesting things. And I, mind you, spent like I spent like the first 250 hours of No Man's Sky when it got the VR update, literally just swimming and like going underwater. And that has been updated substantially and now has been updated again. So this is a huge update for me personally. And I hope that the fishing is fun, because that would be a really cool chill thing to have in the game too.
Yeah. I'm super excited for it. I'm going to have a whale of a time.
Imsadi says, boys in there fishing. I just don't get it. I'm going to take it a step further. Anybody with their fishing. I just don't get it. But VR fishing is a completely different thing. Right? I never thought for a minute that I was going to enjoy catch and release the way that I did. But that was just the tagline for that was just you on a lake, I think it was. And I was like, yeah, this is actually really nice, because then I don't actually have to go outside or deal with mosquitoes and bugs, and just it's a very peaceful thing that I would never do in real life. So I hope this delivers, because I don't know where Jason Garber is.
I'll believe it when I see it, Brian.
Where's Jason Garber, AJ?
I'll believe you playing this when I see it. When you tell me.
Okay, well then you will see it, because I'll have a competing stream with you tonight now that you've challenged me.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
But as AJ said, it's just, I love that there are in the notes about, the like improvements they're doing for PSVR2, and obviously the article has touched upon before that the devs are not done with PSVR2, and there's more that they're going to be looking at to improve. So
yeah. It's crazy what they're doing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And they're just clearly going for pure efficiency. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot, and they said before that a lot of this is popping up because of everything they're wanting to throw into. Nice one, Miles.
You like it? You liked it.
That was so good. I didn't even notice it first.
I know. I was proud of that one.
But yeah, the interesting thing is, of course, they're adding all this because this is all stuff that they're building for Light No Fire, which is their next game, and that's another game that I hope gets a nice little VR2 update. It'll be really interesting to see if Hello Games has like both No Man's Sky and Light No Fire ends up being huge and has VR support. Like that's a big deal. That's gonna keep a lot of people busy and happy for a good amount of time.
The new game that we spoke of that Hello Games are working on, have we got a release date for that yet, or have they not?
I think we're gonna know more
if we wait till the end of this trailer. Maybe they'll tell us. I'm playing it now, but
maybe.
There's no way it's coming this year, right?
No, but I think they're gonna start building up to it early next year, and then if I had to guess, probably like a beta or something like middle, like Q2, Q3 next year.
Yeah, I feel like this. I don't know. We were talking about Warhammer games today in Discord, and it was just saying, like, because what Space Marine 2, is that what it's called? Just came out.
Yeah.
Or the reviews just came out. It's getting great reviews, and I'm like, all these games sound great. But like, I just feel like there's been so many, and Warhammer is like this like a persistent universe that like it seems like it's too much to like try to learn and get into now, and it's like just sort of like, well, let's just wait for. This is how I feel about No Man's Sky. It was just like, man, there's just so much. It's just like it feels like it's too late to get into, and so for me, I'm like, I just kind of want to be there on the ground floor with Light No Fire, and just so I can just be like, I don't care if it's good or not. I don't even care if I understand it. I just want to make sure that I'm there for every update, and it's sort of like my chance to sort of get in on the ground floor again and get excited about a game from the get go. And so that's sort of how I feel about this. That it's sort of my chance to get into a massive Hello Worlds game and actually understand what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to start from the beginning. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe I'll get thousands of hours in this game. Like you have thousands of hours. Is it you're in the thousands now, right, AJ, with No Man's Sky?
No, but I'm close to like 1,000. It's overall.
Yeah.
Which is a lot for me.
I mean, it's a lot for anybody.
Yeah.
But
6 years. I'm using my same save file from 2016.
Wow. It's
I
pretty
use
cool.
the same save file. Crazy. Yeah.
We're gonna take a couple more tips and a viewer takeover question. I'm gonna get to our main story here. We'll just let this Light No Fire trailer run, make everyone drool for a little while. What is going on? Do I have two? I do. I figured out something's been broken since the beginning of the stream, and I just figured out what the problem was on my end. AJ, do you still hear yourself in the monitor? Is that what's happening over there?
No.
You're doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, was that from when we were still testing audio before the show? That comment? All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that was yeah.
Cool. Slayer, the Underground Gamecat with the Canadian $5 tip says, today is my birthday and I'm glad I'm spending it with you guys. Oh, dude.
Happy birthday, Slayer.
Happy birthday. Yeah, dude, for real. I'm probably gonna be spending my birthday with you guys too, but I think after after what age do you stop celebrating your birthday?
5.
Oh, for me, it was like 25.
Yeah. 20.
31, I think.
31.
The next milestone for me is
You say milestone?
69.
Oh, you think you're gonna make it? As Dark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. We're past the halfway mark, so.
Yeah, because by that time we'll have we'll have cured cancer. We'll have robotic. I might be like an android by that point, but I'll be there in some form.
I figure it's sometime between now and my 60s, I will become a vampire.
Nice.
I feel like it's just inevitable.
I respect people that plan ahead with their career moves. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do this forever. Actually, that's the only way I'm going to be able to retire if I work for 300 or 400 more years. Now let's Ryan the game feline with the $5 tip says, Brian, you're unmatched in terms of integrity. I'm glad you think so. We'll just smile and nod. Lewis Matthews with the €5 sends us a kiss. Wow. Is that on the lips? Because I hope so. Or is it on the?
It's on the taint.
Is it on the dick? Living legend with the Canadian
on the fin.
There's so much ejaculate going on today that like just watch where you put the lips.
So
is all I
dirty.
can say.
It is so dirty. Yeah.
This is one of our grosser shows.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. Or just rub it around till it dries. Living legend with the Canadian $5 tip says, us PSVR2 fans got shafted. That Asobi confirmed no more Astrobot for VR2, but regardless, I'm excited for Astrobot this Friday. I know you are too, Brian. I am. I just hope I have time for it. There's so much stuff going on in PSVR2 land, and there's so many flat screen games that I've started and haven't finished that I'm like, do I want to spend that much money on Astrobot right off? And I think the answer is yeah. I thought it'd be a great Portal game, but I'm a little bit nervous because one of the great things about Astrobot games is the soundtrack. And so I use my Portal when I'm watching TV or watching a movie and just kind of playing a game, that I don't have to pay much attention to. But I feel like I'm going to miss out on the whole AV experience if I don't have headphones on and really enjoy Astrobot on like the 4K TV. So I don't know. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to do Astrobot. I, however, do have faith that we are still getting an Astrobot game in VR.
Yeah, same. I also, I've been looking the last couple of weekends. I've needed like a nice, cozy game to play, something for comfort, and I've played a few games here and there that have been
comfort?
Fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Like your thought that you...
With what?
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Astrobot this Friday seems like a perfect game to chill with at the weekend. So I'm super hyped.
Fuck Astrobot. It's dead to me until there's another VR version.
Yep.
I'll play Astrobot Rescue Mission again. It's gonna be a better game anyways.
I expect nothing less from the PC Master Race. Scott, the PSVR Game Cap for Life with the level 1 membership, says the band name is Mark. Men are realty killers? Is that reality? I don't know how to spell reality. Realty killers.
We'll sell you houses. We'll sell you VR houses.
Did no one get the Empire Records joke last episode? Like, no. Okay, forget it.
What? No.
No one's get like literally one person got the Empire Records joke last Gamescast. Literally one person got the Almost Famous joke reference that I put in the title of the Towers and Powers Brian Bite. I'm on this little island all by myself. It's like the worst episode of Lost ever. I'm not coming back.
Are we still talking about milk in the chat a week later? This is unbelievable.
That sounds
3
about right.
hours.
Yeah.
3 hours last week and it didn't stop, and it's still going on here.
And I
Unbelievable.
think the dude who delivered my groceries knew what was up, because I ordered soy milk and he delivered almond milk, even though I have like a severe almond allergy. And I was like,
oh god.
I was like, wait, I can't believe the milk
assassin.
conversation is continuing into my real life. What is going on? Yeah,
It's a big part of life. You know?
Milk is a big part of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, less so when you're boring like me. I don't know. Sun WTF just gifted 5 without parole memberships. Oh, dude, there's more green in the chat than there was before. Congrats. Dude.
Wow, look at all the green. Look at all the green.
Chris Forthenberry's green. Hector Robles is green. Atmos VR. Hippie Pickle. Dude, look at all these green people. And sorry I didn't catch all the names that were turning green in real time last time. It's craziness. All right, guys. One quick viewer takeover question from Discord. Remember, guys, the easy way to get your questions into the show without spending a single penny or without being a member is by going over to Discord and leaving questions in the viewer takeover channel, just like friend at court did, and said, "What the fuck, guys?" I don't think he was that mad about it. He said, "Is that Madison Spoilercast still happening at some point?" And I wanted to address that right now because it is September 4th, and let me tell you guys. The channel might seem a little bit dead for the next 26 days. Okay, but I got to let you know, there's a lot of shit happening behind the scenes. I am trying to make October the most action-packed October that Without Parole has ever seen. I want there to be content every single day for the spooky season. I want to enjoy October as much as I can, which means there's a ton of work I got to get done this month. So there's a series of videos that I want to make, some top lists I want to make, some reviews I want to get done, all sorts of crazy shit. And I was talking to the co-host behind the scenes recently, and we're going to do our absolute best for one of those many, many things that we're doing in October, along with covering the new games that are coming out, is to finally do the Madison Spoilercast. So stay tuned. We're going to do it. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun because I need an excuse to go back and play Madison again and fucking enjoy that story again.
I need an excuse not to play it again. It's so scary.
So, and Zeke reminds me, he says 3 streams a week. Yeah. Also, I think by October, we'll be back into our regular streaming schedule, doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday again for Gamescast. So when I tell you that October is going to be absolutely bonkers, you're not going to need your Netflix subscription anymore, or your Amazon subscription, or your Hulu subscription, or your Paramount Plus subscription. No, you're going to need your Pornhub subscription. Or you can just swap that out for my OnlyFans, one or the other. Like, I kind of have you covered on all bases. But, dude, you're just going to be watching Without Parole for like hundreds of hours through the month of October. It's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait to spend it with you guys because October is my favorite month of the year. So everyone get excited. We're gonna be doing the 3-day a week streaming schedule probably until close to summer of next year. We're just gonna kind of take a 3-month break or so around summer each year. I think is how it's gonna work.
Your wrist is gonna be aching. Well, from all the scrolling on the mouse, like all the live streaming and looking at the comments and stuff. Yeah,
Robbie says, "Tell us more about Brian's OnlyFans." I've only got one question for you, Robbie. Do you like feet? Because I got feet. I got 2 of them. Lots of toes. All right. I'm so glad we don't do YouTube Shorts, or that would be one. And I don't think that's how we want to come across. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I'm just gonna sit in the corner here and just cry. Just
Oof.
What has happened today?
Because you know that turns me on. Is that why, AJ? How did you know that was my fetish? Oh my god, this is so
feels like spooky season already.
We
does. Yeah. Ectoplasm everywhere.
Yeah.
Dude, Gamescast never causes us to gain subscribers, just FYI, in case anyone's curious. But we do lose subscribers because of conversations like this pretty much constantly. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Listen, there was a really interesting article that came out today. I think it was from PlayStation Lifestyle. Unfortunately, we're not going to read that article. We are actually going to read the article where Insider Game. I love Insider Gaming. I don't know what it is, but we are going to read their article on the matter. And this article is titled Sony CFO says company doesn't have enough IP. If you're not familiar, IP, intellectual properties, these are big names that you're familiar with: Uncharted, The Last of Us, and reading just the headline alone, I don't think the article tells us all that much more, to be honest with you. Reading the headline alone just made me gasp a little bit, right? Because I feel like Sony has potentially even more revered IPs, a lot of discarded IP than even Nintendo does, right?
Yep.
Nintendo has kept things going since the mid '80s with Mario and Kirby and Zelda. I mean, you name it, man, right? Like they have most of their IPs have been. Very few have been left dormant for a very long amount of time, right? Even things that go away for a long time, like Kid Icarus, they always come back and there's always something interesting happening, right? Metroid goes away and comes back. It's always crazy. But somehow I think when you look at the stable of Sony's IPs, it's even more massive than Nintendo's, because they do stuff for a while. They're very dedicated to it, and then the console generation ends, and then we don't hear from that. We never hear that game name mentioned again. And so let's just go through this article real quick. Like I said, I don't think it's very long. This is from Mike Straw over at Insider Gaming. It says, in an interview with the Financial Times, Sony Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki, probably pronouncing that wrong, said that the company needs to put more of a focus on creating its own IP moving forward. And that's not just in a specific sector, but throughout the company. Whether it's for games, films, or anime, we don't have that much IP that we fostered from the beginning. We're lacking the early phase of IP, and that's an issue for us. Hitoki added in the interview that Sony has been, quote, better at finding global audiences for content that have already become popular in their home market. From a gaming standpoint, Sony has a number of original active IPs for PlayStation. Franchises such as God of War, Horizon, Uncharted continue to be successful from Sony first-party developers. The company also has a number of dormant first-party titles like Bloodborne, which Sony funded from Software, Killzone, SOCOM, Resistance, and more. And that's it. That's the whole article. Because I think we're all in the same boat when we hear this. We're like, what the fuck, Sony? Like, we have been begging you to bring these franchises back for years. Sorry, AJ, go ahead.
You're fine, and I agree that I agree with 50% of what he's saying. I do agree that the company needs to put more of a focus in creating its own IP moving forward. That's a sensible answer. What I disagree with, just like everybody else, though, is that they don't currently have enough of their own IP. Now, I don't know how, obviously the headline says they don't have enough IP, right, but the full thing is that they don't have enough IP that they've fostered from the beginning. So I don't know if he's talking about like stuff that has literally been produced from a first party studio from the get-go versus like, something that was like that they acquired later on or something that they funded, because they have been leveraging funding third party stuff for a long time now with exclusivity deals, stuff like Final Fantasy and a lot of other ones. But yeah, if this is this is that out of touch Sony that we've been talking about, where it's like if you don't think that there is a market for a SOCOM or a Killzone or Resistance, I could understand it being hard to find developers that want to do this, that to have the right vision to create a successful game out of these IPs. But to think that you don't have these IPs is pretty crazy. Now, I do agree that there should be more developed from the ground, brand new ones. Astrobot is a great example of this. I think Astrobot is a great brand new IP that recaptures that PlayStation, that mascot, that magic. And it also plays with like nostalgia using a bunch of PlayStation IPs. I mean, that's what Astrobot gets away with, at least the flat version, is that's what they're leveraging, is all of the IPs that they have and the references and things like that. But so I agree with some of his statements there, but I definitely don't agree. I do also think, to that same note, that they are severely underutilizing a lot of the IPs that they do have still.
Right.
Yeah. I have very mixed feelings about this, because on the one hand, like when we consider what the development cycle is for a new IP, we've just come out of the first cycle of Returnal. No pun intended there for certain. But also the case with Ghost of Tsushima. We're expecting, there's rumors of a second one coming out, and obviously that got remastered for PS5. But that is still a sucker punch, like one cycle of their game. I don't think they've worked on any other games since then. So on the one hand, I feel like Sony are still developing new IPs. They take up a lot of investment. We know that Naughty Dog, I say we know, I think it's an open secret that Naughty Dog are working on a new IP. Whether it's where it's going to place with The Last of Us in the next chapter is one thing. And then Santa Monica Studios are also working on, Cory Barlog, who worked on the first God of War reboot, is working on a new IP somewhere. So all these things are happening. But then on the other side of things, where there are IPs that still exist under ownership under a Sony first-party studio, I could be wrong here, but I just feel like if the studio doesn't want to revisit it, then they're going to kind of stonewall it. So a great example would be Killzone with Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla Games are like, Horizon. That is what they're working on now and probably looking ahead. If they don't want to deal with Killzone, it's within their right to say, but we don't want anyone, like, if it's going to be worked on, we want to have our hands on it. And we've seen that happen in the case with Naughty Dog. I think it was Ben Studio who did, what was the zombie game? Days Gone.
Yep.
Yeah. I think they were rumored to be working on the remaster of The Last of Us. And then Naughty Dog were like, you know what, we'll take it in. Again, this was all speculation and talk. And you sort of hear this again and again, that with these first party studios, it's their IP. They want to take care of it. But for them, it's like, but it's not a priority. They obviously ditched the factions for The Last of Us, which was going to be a big undertaking. Technically, they could have let someone else take care of it. But no, if it's one of our IPs, we want to hang on to it there.
The thing though is that, yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, and I hope I'm not going to just steamroll everything you're about to say. I feel like history has actually shown that Sony handles things much differently than the examples you're showing off, right? Because you brought up Ben Studio and Uncharted, and Ben Studio did Uncharted Golden Abyss on Vita. True. And then Sly Cooper 4 was not made by Sucker Punch, right? It was made by another studio. The fourth Jack and Dexter game was not made by Naughty Dog. It's like, if these games are, we could absolutely continue these games in these series with a different studio and let these kind of trailblazing studios that create these awesome IPs and create the first 1, 2, 3 games in the series, let them go and do something else, because they've been doing the same thing for a decade or longer, right? Like, let them move on and do something different. Well, let another, like, maybe like less tested studio, take over the IP under the guidance of Sony, under the guidance of the creators, right? This is kind of what happens when you have this massive stable of first-party studios under your belt is that you have the ability to keep these games going even when the interest is lost, to keep it going from the people who created it. It's more of a family type thing going on over there at Sony than anything else.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I was going in that direction, but the examples you gave were not ones that came to mind straight away. So those are really good points. And I think there's also this understood pressure from history now where we can look at things like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, that they were first party PlayStation games when they came out, right? I mean, Crash was Naughty Dog, or was it not quite that?
Crash was Naughty Dog, but
I don't
Spyro
think
was
were they.
Spyro's
But Naughty
Insomniac.
Dog wasn't.
But
owned
these IPs
by-
were purchased by Activision. Both of them, in fact, they were both.
Yeah,
Purchased
exactly.
By
So that's what I was going to say. Was the lesson is that IPs can move to competitor spaces, and so there is this thing about like hold on to IPs because there's a reason people like them so much, and that they should be reinvested into. So, yeah, this is why I have mixed thoughts. Is I think there are two things going, but as you rightly say, Brian, there is a lot of cases where they've shown that they have been willing to move stuff from one studio to the other. But I also think that there's just a lot of fear at the moment in the gaming industry. I mean, Concord, we've touched upon it already, but this was a game that was in I think it was 6 years of development, but it was like it started going under the ideas process at 8 years, and then it hasn't even lasted 2 weeks, and it was like $200 million.
Yeah, it's riskier. There's a lot more risk in developing brand new
Live
IPs
service.
and well, new IPs in general, but yeah, especially the god awful live service ideas that they had. If we actually explore this a little bit, you do see some examples of them retaining or reusing some of their, popular IPs and then trying to lend that to other studios. We saw this with Horizon Call of the Mountain, at least in terms of like VR here. And that, that obviously didn't really move the needle very much or enough, until Dawn the Dark Pictures anthology Switchback was a train wreck at launch. They fixed things up, but it didn't really do much in terms of sales. I think the frustrating part for me is when they do kind of capture that lightning in a bottle and do have an IP that they could either use or have a good vision for, have a good direction for, that could be both a financial and critical success, and they just don't take full advantage of that. You would think that they'd be milking everything. I mean, how long did it take? It took years of jumping up and down saying, why aren't you doing like an Astrobot everything? Why is every PlayStation, they need like an Astrobot, a VR game is what I was saying. Like they need an Astro Kart, they need an Astro Party, they need a flat screen game, which is obviously what they did. Which while I'm very angry about it, I do think it's the right business decision for them to do it.
Right.
And then like an Astro movie. So they're starting to show signs of like still being able to do some of that, but yeah, it's just like when it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, it's like you would think that they would have the wherewithal to kind of like be a little bit more efficient at these things.
Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat in the chat says, do you, however, want more than 4 or so games in an IP? I think it's a good question to ask, right? Because I do think that once I play 3 Sly Cooper games and then a 4th one comes out and I start and go, kind of done this, right? It's a little bit strange to have those feelings because no one's ever like, oh, stop bringing us Mario games or stop bringing us Kirby games or stop bringing us, whatever, right? Anything in the Nintendo stable. So I think it's about keeping the quality up, and then also keeping
and reimagining. Yeah.
They do retain a lot of the original creators, I think, though, with like the Nintendo or with what Nintendo does. Maybe that's part of the problem or maybe that's part of why they're able to do that is because they keep the same original talent and developers that, are able to kind of just refine and reform the game a little bit.
Well, and I think you're hitting on something really important here, AJ, and that's that, if you switch to an entirely new team, like I was suggesting earlier, something always gets a little bit like, what happened? Why wasn't Golden Abyss as good as like Uncharted 3 or 2 or 1? And like, oh, because it just had a different feel to it a little bit, right? And so my suggestion here would be, first of all, space shit out. Right, no one wants to play the same game every single year, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel like that's sort of what happened. Is like we did get a little bit of Sly Cooper fatigue, and we did get a little bit of. I personally got Uncharted fatigue, and it was like, but if
well, you say that, but Call of Duty and Madden and Call of Duty and Madden do sell like every single year.
Yeah, but
people aren't happy about it.
I actually like Call of Duty. I actually like Call of Duty, and there was no way I would play every single one of those every single year, right?
Same.
But we're all different, right? Some people are like Uncharted. Call of Duty is the game that they play with their friends every year, right? Yep. It's like that's the game they're going to play all year long, and when a new one comes out, they're going to buy it, and they're going to play that new one all year long. Single player, story-driven campaigns aren't the same thing. You know what I mean? And so there's a little bit of a difference there, but. I think give each one enough time to gestate, give one in each time people get to want to come back to the series, give a couple years between each one. And also I think this is something I've sort of been harping on about for the last year or so. I have personally become very disenchanted with the AAA model, right? When games cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make, right? In the entire future of the studio depends on that game being a success. That is when I start losing interest and go, you put too much fucking money into this, and it's too much riding on it. There needs to be, I think, within every AAA studio, there needs to be a smaller subsect of like single A, like a mini single A studio within that studio, right? And in that way, when things like this happen, it's still the same team. It's still the people who worked on this stuff. It's still the people who, like really have ownership over Uncharted or The Last of Us or whatever it might be. And then it's their turn to make like single A games, like versions of these games. I don't think what we're working with now is a sustainable business model. And so a lot of it, when I was coming up with the list of all of these previous Sony IPs that we'll get to in a second, there were a lot of them that were like, I don't even think at the time were considered AAA games. Sony was putting out a lot of maybe single A first party games, and I think that this is kind of the way to move forward. And in that way, they're not risking their entire future by putting out another Killzone game or another Resistance game or another Twisted Metal game, right? They can take some risks and really milk that nostalgia that people have for old Sony IPs.
I just want to say that I think that IPs succeed most in their iterations when there is actually a reimagining of how it's consumed. So I could think back to when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and just being able to play this top-down game, and now you're in 3D. The latest Helldivers game, Helldivers 2, I believe it was a top-down game, the first one, which they rebuilt into this new way. So it was like widening it to a bigger audience with bigger appeal. And there's just a lot of examples of sequels of, franchises. Even the God of War reboot was, again, another reimagining of it that just brought it to a broader audience. And so I guess this is me helping segue it to us going through the list. But VR is the ultimate reimagining of a lot of these IPs have been able to firstly live in those worlds, but also experience them in new ways. I mean, this isn't going to be one on the list, but when I always think about games I would love to see in VR, one of them is Overcooked, the Team 17 game, top-down game. But we play these cooking games in VR, or these bar games, and you just want there to be a multiplayer component where you're competing, or co-op, where you're working in a kitchen together to do stuff. And that is an example of like reimagining that I think would succeed very well, because Overcooked is a massive IP, but it's not just like, it's not Overcooked 3, like Overcooked VR. The thought of that is like, oh wow, so you're now in the kitchen with your friends and doing the performative actions and stuff. And so 2 parts to this conversation. I think there's a lot of IPs that could be brought back and reimagined. Sometimes they're too scared to reimagine it, so they do an upgrade, like the new Silent Hill 2 remake. Supposedly it's decent from what the reviews are saying, but it kind of stays within the lines a bit too much, which maybe they'd be criticised if they didn't do that. Also, the new Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake. The reviews on that have been looks absolutely beautiful, but it's literally the same game. So you feel like there's like loading screens between each part of the jungle, which just feels ridiculous in 2024. Right. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of these that could be reimagined even on flat screen, but I think VR is just the biggest win for all of that.
Absolutely, man. That's why so many people believe it's the future, especially take it from somebody that's been playing nothing but flat, like, UEVR for the past month and a half. It's like, this game looks amazing in VR. Yeah, it's really. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to tell you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. What a friend.
No, but you do look at there are, I don't know, I'd like to bring up stuff like the building upon, reiterating upon certain IPs and growing them, but it is definitely does seem to be more of an exception than a rule in some cases, at least when it comes to PlayStation and some like third-party studios. I look at like what Grand Theft Auto, that's going to be I would imagine, if you asked me right now what I thought, I would think that that's going to sell like over 100 million copies, like worldwide, the new Grand Theft Auto 6 or whatever, when that comes out. And that takes what, like 10 years to come out? Like that has taken, it went from a 3 year dev cycle to 5 year to 10 years, and has somehow managed to grow. The Elder Scrolls series was another one that would take a really long time, but it would just, when they invest so much time and effort and creativity, these games they sustain themselves for a very long time, and then they get enough time to build a bigger, better sequel and release something even bigger, and then that lasts even longer. And but yeah, I think that it's hard. I think the biggest issue is when you have, the PlayStation name has not changed, but the people that are running it, the people that are a part of that behind the scenes, everything that does change. And that's something that happens with a lot of companies is like, it can look the same, but it's like, this is it could be completely different people from completely different backgrounds and visions and everything, that can happen. And I think that's part of what's happened. That's what has kind of the disconnect between the fan, the like, longtime PlayStation fans and kind of where they're at now, kind of moving to a new direction, and why it's hard for some of the people to connect the dots of like, hey, like, this is not like, yes, it's Sony PlayStation, but it's, completely different people running the show. It's not the same people that brought you SOCOM or brought you, I mean, it is kind of technically the people that brought you Resistance and what's the other one? Resistance and Killzone. But they've obviously moved on. They're the same talent, or a lot of the same talent, but they've moved on with Horizon now, a new IP, because they got tired of doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and actually, we're gonna get to this in the tips anyway.
Sorry, I was just kind of thinking out loud.
No, that's
kind of ranting.
That's totally fine. Actually, I
we'll do it.
We're gonna get to a tip that actually reflects what we're this part of the conversation anyway. So let's get to the tips. Living Legend with the Canadian $2 tip says, "Happy autumn, Gamecats! My favorite season." I agree with you. I cannot wait to put on some hoodies and jeans and enjoy this awesome season. Flannel. I mean, yeah, 95, 96, sure. The Virtual Resistance with level 1 membership says, SOCOM, Killzone, Resistance, Last of Us would be perfect for VR. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could take an even longer stab at this conversation and talk about the dormant franchises or even the current franchises. That would all be great in VR. But it's like, man, it's like, I think it's almost beyond the point at this point, right? It's like, man, like, get your shit together and look at what an amazing stable of games that you already have, an amazing stable of IPs that you have, that there's interest in bringing back, and that's, VR, sure, but I mean, even flat screen, that's what they're going to be more concerned about, right? Just because there's so much more money involved in that.
Yeah, and this whole conversation makes a lot I mean, it makes sense for VR because it's like, yeah, you have all these opportunities, all these IPs that would be like Miles was saying, like reimagined or reiterated in a VR. Like that's what makes VR so great is you can experience these games like you're playing them for the very first time again. And they're incredible games. And that's what the power of VR can do. But yeah, I mean, the bigger picture, of course, is that like they're just trying to stabilize their moneymaker, their financial situation, and their stability first.
It does mean you can also use classic IPs that perhaps don't cost a lot to bring back. I mean, Wipeout that was on PSVR.
Yep.
When was the last Wipeout game before it? Was it literally a PS1 game, or have they been doing them every console?
They've been doing them. And don't forget that what was on PSVR 1 was Omega was a collection of like PS3 and I believe PS.
It was
Vita
a PS3
games?
game that was a collection. Yeah, that was.
So I'm looking at it now. So Wipeout Omega Collection was 2017, and then they had Wipeout 2048, which was in 2012. So, I mean, 5 years, but yeah, that's interesting.
Mischievous Markio, the Underground Game Cat with Canadian $2 says they need hybrid IPs, RE4, and Capcom proves this. Absolutely, and that's why they're paying Capcom to bring those things over, because they're saying we want this, but we don't want to put in the time or effort or pay our first-party studios to do it. Shout out to Kiznell, who gifted 5 without Parole memberships. The chat's looking greener than ever, boys. Thank you so much, Kiznell. Amazing generosity. Son WTF with the $2 tip says, give me a Twisted Metal hybrid for fuck's sake. I agree with you. This is the fact that we haven't seen a Twisted Metal since PlayStation 3. Is that correct? Fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Chris Forthenberry with 350 says a lot of Sony's old IPs don't age well. Well, that's why you make new ones. That's why you make new titles in those IPs. Oh no, he didn't say age well. I just read it completely wrong. He literally said didn't sell well. And I think that's got to be the reason, right? That's why these things disappear. That's why Killzone, they stopped making Killzone games. Obviously, they wanted to do something different, but that's why they stopped making jumping Flash games on PlayStation 1 because they stopped selling as well, or Ape Escape games on PS2 because they stopped selling as well. However, you got to give these games time to breathe. You got to give people time to be nostalgic about them and go, oh, remember Ape Escape? Dude, I just had to sit through Despicable Me 4 with my family, and it was awful. Do you know how much fun, personally, I think a kid's movie or a CGI movie in focusing on Ape Escape and Spike and the professor and all of that, and having Spike run around and catch monkeys and all that shit? Like, dude, I think they absolutely could have done that and kicked Despicable Me 4's ass, right? Like, there's all of these things that I think are just dying to come back. Oh shit! Somebody just said Disruptor in the chat. What up, JUU? Disruptor is like one of the best first-person shooters on on PlayStation 1. Jetmoto, right?
Bring back Jetmoto. I do think also just because maybe one title doesn't land. I don't know the whole history. I mean, despite being like Twisted Metal being pretty much my favorite IP from the PS1 era, one of them, I don't know if it was like a constant trajectory of selling down, or was it just one miss and then they decided to scrap it? Like, it's like, yeah, it's kind of, I mean, you look at what they did with like God of War as well. It was like that ran its course, and then what did they do? They rebooted it with a fresh new coat of paint, fresh new modernized mechanics, technology going into it, and that's kind of what you would expect to do. That's what Nintendo is doing. They're taking the same IPs and then they're injecting the new technology into it to create these IPs to keep them going and sustain them. And that's kind of what, that's what the whole topic of this conversation is about, is like, you have all these things. Yes, some of these ran their course, but you can absolutely utilize new technology and different creative ways to bring some of these back.
Dude, people forget that in the PS2 era, PS2, Xbox, GameCube era, like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, these were games that could like just fucking ran into the ground, right? The games during that era weren't great, and sales declined until they found out, well, this is not really worth making games in these franchises anymore, right? People forgot about that because then when they brought it back, what did they do? They brought back the games that people remembered. They did the original Spyro trilogy. They did the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy. They did.
And you know how much those sold?
Like crazy.
10 million copies.
Right.
Spyro Reignited trilogy sold over 10 million.
Right. And I know that not everything is nearly as popular as Spyro and Crash, but I do think it's worth taking a look at those and going,
Bloody Roar was, but
you can go fuck yourselves.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah. You can get on your Jet Moto with a cool with your
fuck out of here
with your cool board strapped to your back.
Yes.
And see yourself out, sir.
I want a Jet Moto cool boarders hybrid.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'd come up with a list of as many old first party Sony first party IPs that I could possibly think of, and I was curious because it's the title of the video, you guys. What are our favorites? What ones do we think they should bring back? And if you've got any good ideas about how they should manage that, I'm curious to hear that too.
Okay.
Any thoughts on this, Miles?
As in, you want me to pick some out now?
Yeah, I mean, I sent you a really big.
Yeah,
list.
yeah, I do. I just didn't know if we were going to quickly reel them off, but we. Can,
oh, you want? I'll read them all off. Here, let's do this real fast.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't have to stop on all of them. We can, if any of us interrupt. I mean, Ape Escape we've already touched upon. I think Ape Escape would be a great one to bring back.
All right, let's
Ark the Lad. I didn't know Ark the Lad.
Is that an exclusive? Is that a first party?
It was an RPG series, and it was on PlayStation 1, top down, very SNES looking.
It looks familiar.
Hey, all five of us know, Brian. Duh.
Hey, listen, there were Ark the Lad games on PS2 as well, but I just don't think they were terribly popular. Let me run down this really fast, and then we can you can pick and choose after. So Ape Escape, Ark the Lad, Astrobot, Bloodborne, Colony Wars, Concrete Genie, Days Gone, Dreams, Everybody's Golf, Fat Princess, G Police, The Getaway, Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost Hunter, God of War, Gran Turismo, Gravity Rush, Helldivers, Horizon, Eco, Infamous, Invisimals, Jak and Daxter, Jet Moto, Jumping Flash, Killzone, Knack, Lair. Come on, guys, we need to bring Lair back. The Last Guardian, The Last of Us, Legend of Dragoon, Little Big Planet, Loco Roco, Medieval, MLB The Show, Motorstorm, Okagi, Shadow King, The Order 1886, Parappa the Rapper, Patapon, Primal, Ratchet and Clank, Resistance, Returnal, Shadow of the Colossus, Siren, Sly Cooper, SOCOM, Spider-Man, Sports Champions, come on, Siphon Filter, Twisted Metal, Uncharted, Until Dawn, Vib Ribbon, Wipeout. These are just the ones that came to mind. I tried to find some lists online. There are no complete lists online because every time I thought of something, I was like, why isn't that this in that list or whatever? It is crazy how many forgotten IPs there are in Sony's back catalog. Where the fuck is Parappa the Rapper, you guys?
I was going to say, I would love to look down at my arms and be like, where's my body? And then you turn your hand sideways. Oh, there it is. That's Parappa the Rapper. Just having to
You just
do
made
that.
paper.
Yeah. Look, so some of the ones on this list that stood out to me. Firstly, Infamous was always a top 20 contender for a VR port. Just because being able to ride on rails or absorb electricity from anything and just flipping cars up or just gliding through the sky, that superhero fantasy, but being able to be for good or be for bad, that would be one I would love to see. That's one that I think would be a great choice. One that I'm not sure about being a great choice, but one that has a special place in my heart is G Police. I remember renting that, I think, initially from Blockbuster, and playing it as a kid and being absolutely blown away by that game. G Police was amazing because the whole world had this massive force field around it, didn't it? So you can go out the map, and yeah, that was a good time, man. That was a good time.
Yeah, I think there's things that Sony even owns on top of this that that aren't attributed to them. We were talking before the show about Lemmings. I'm pretty certain that Sony owns Lemmings. That was always a Psygnosis game, and so Psygnosis, I believe, is the maker of Colony Wars and G Police, and I think Sony owns all those IPs now.
Lemmings we've had with what was the enhanced game, Humanity.
Oh yeah,
that was our
it's kind of true.
Lemmings. Yeah,
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, and this is a conversation about VR. This is a conversation about just bringing these things back. Like, I talked about Ape Escape possibly being an awesome CGI movie. I think, dude, I can see Patapon being such a big franchise. I don't think it ever was a big franchise. I don't think it ever got the love it deserved because it was mostly a PSP game, right? That trilogy was on PSP, and I think it would be great to be like explore those tribes and like give these little Patapon some personality, like even more personality. I think they could really like make a Saturday morning cartoon out of it. Is it Saturday morning cartoon still a thing? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
But you know what I mean? It's like there's just so many opportunities we're seeing Sony do things like the Twisted Metal TV show, but then not coming out with the game to pair with it. We're seeing
it got canned.
Yeah,
right,
kind of were
right. But it didn't happen. So no matter what the reason, like they dropped the ball on this, and and it's kind of the same thing with like The Last of Us. It's like, well, we're getting remakes of The Last of Us 1 and 2, but that's kind of the extent of that. It's like, well, decent way to cash in on it, but dude, we're getting remakes of a game that came out last gen, right? So it just seems like there's so many opportunities here as we go through this list that are just being ignored.
Two others on the list that I definitely would love to see. Little Big Planet. I think being in that Sackboy world would be amazing, especially with the creator tools of like creating your own maps and just. Can you imagine playing Cult with your friends and your friend is just like this adorable Sackboy? Just it'd be amazing. And then the other one I saw was Bloodborne. Man, I think Bloodborne would be the most incredible like PR stunt ever because people just every year keep talking about rumor after rumor. When are we going to get a 60 FPS version of the game? When? Can you imagine if they dropped this remake? Oh, and it's playable in VR. It's what we always talk about because there'd be loads of people going, "Oh, I get to play at 60 FPS. Oh wait, I could play it in VR. Which what frame rate is it VR? It's 61, right. 61 frames per second. But no, so yeah, Bloodborne and Sackboy were another two that definitely caught my interest. AJ, what about you, dude?
Well, if I wanted to make some money, I would. If I were Sony and wanted to make money, I would absolutely do Spider-Man VR. Like, it would just fucking print money. It makes too much sense. And the fact that they never did that after people lost their shit over a very crappy free-to-play VR demo to promote a movie, the fact that they did that and like the reception that got was amazing, and they never actually like. Followed up on that is, I think, just a terrible decision. Like, I get that that Sony is cautious about, people getting motion sick, things like that, but you got to just that when it comes to like the dedicated VR player base, the people that do stick with VR are the ones that, build their VR legs and then love shit like that. Like, love the exciting adrenaline rushing shit. That's what people tend to play. I would definitely go with Spider-Man as a mainstream thing. Returnal, having played Returnal in first person with motion controls, I can tell you it is the best, even though it's not designed for VR, it is the best VR first-person shooter I have ever played in my life. Yes, a better shooter than Resident Evil's. Yeah, like a better shooter than all of those. And it's not even intended for VR. It's that good. It has absolutely blown my mind. And I've been saying, for those who've been following on my channel would know, but everyone else, like I've been saying over and over, like Returnal is the best UEVR game I've played so far. Like it is mind melting, which is what I want when I play VR games. I want to be blown away. There's some other good choices in here. Stuff like Motorstorm, which we have that thing. Bloodborne is also another dream come true. That would be a dream game of mine because Bloodborne's one of my favorite games of all time. I love that Colony Wars is in here. I tried, for the record, I know I've told this story a billion times, but I tried to get Colony Wars made in VR and it didn't work. they were like, no.
Like, who the fuck are you?
It was somebody that made that worked on the original Colony Wars and made a VR game. And I was like, oh my God, you got to make Colony Wars in VR. And they were like, they just kind of looked at me like,
We have to remake
no.
Colony Wars first and make it look halfway decent because it's a PS1 game or PS1 trilogy. Yeah, dude.
There's a bunch of other just personal things that I would like to see. I don't know if they would sell well, but they would be amazing. Jet Moto, one of my favorite games of all time, also.
Right.
But yeah, that's about it, though.
Right. Also, the developers behind the Order 1886, that was a game that I really enjoyed. I know it was I rented it, and I was like, I would have been pissed if I paid full price for it because of how short it was.
I paid full price for the collector's edition.
Oh man!
Yep.
Well, the devs, they went on to be a Meta Quest VR studio, didn't they?
And they just got shut down.
I think.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, ready and done. Real sad story. The Order 1886 deserves a sequel. Like it was a relatively short game for the time, and there were issues with it. They were trying to make it a little too cinematic, so like you never felt like you had full control of your character. But it was still great. It was still like, oh man, these guys know what they're doing, and like they deserve a chance to make a sequel with, kind of addressing all the issues. Real shame. One of the ones that is close to my heart is Shadow of the Colossus. Personally, everything Team Eco made, even The Last Guardian, which I know wasn't really well received, was just very touching stories. You know what I mean? Like touching that really gave you that sense of solitude I was looking for in single player adventure games. And then here we are. I don't know if Skydance is sort of eating Team Eco's lunch here with Behemoth, but it's like would we need a Shadow of the Colossus game after getting Behemoth? Time will tell. But I
guess it depends if it's any good, right?
Yeah, I'd still love to say yes, right? Because it does not look like you're playing as a much different character in Shadow of the Colossus than you are in Behemoth, right? It's not a power fantasy. In fact, it's quite the opposite, right? You do fit. It is this whole is it Samson and Goliath? No, what the fuck am I trying to say? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, no one. I don't know. No one knows what I'm talking about. You feel underpowered the entire time. I want to talk to Samson.
Oh, David and Goliath.
David and Goliath. Who's
Samson and Goliath?
Well, yeah. What is
Samson?
Man, my brain is so shot. I don't even know what I was. David and Goliath for sure, though, because it's the tale of the underpowered hero and these monsters and it's so emotional, right? And I don't know if Behemoth is going to be emotional. I don't think it's going to like deliver on the same kind of those same notes. As you go through the game, you start feeling bad about killing the Colossus like partway through, right? So,
well, I also skipped over Astrobot on this list somehow. I guess I'm suppressing my depression. To me, that's where I'm just like, I kind of draw the line there and look at and have to face reality. And it's like, well, Astrobot is, if I was trying to build excitement, trying to build sales, it'd be like Astrobot, Spider-Man, no brainer.
Yep.
Grow VR. But yeah, with them releasing Astrobot, hopefully there's like a remaster of the first or a VR mode that gets designed with the new Astrobot game. But I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of like think that when I thought that, I asked for it for years and believed, and then it didn't happen. So to me, it's kind of just like, I don't know. It seems a little bit of just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But when it comes to PC, however, then it'll get its VR mode.
Yep. Now, listen, a lot of good stuff on this list. I feel like going through the list of games we rattled off, the IPs we rattled off, very few of them, I think most would translate very well to to getting a new game in the series, and I think a lot of them there'd be a lot of interest in it. Mostly because some of these have been very dormant for a very long time, and so people are like, oh man, they put their nostalgia glasses on and go, this is great. Like this reminds me of my childhood. This reminds me of a different era of gaming, and people are desperate for that kind of stuff. That's why retro gaming is so huge, and so. I think there's a lot of love for a lot of these franchises, and Sony not recognizing it is really sad. I'm sure they want to keep moving forward and keep finding and keep creating new things. The next Ghost of Tsushima, the kind of thing that will capture an audience and say, hey, this is selling better than anything we had prior. I get it. They're a business. They need to make money. Sure. But to not even look back and go, man, so some of this stuff some of this stuff is really near and dear to a lot of gamers' heart. I think is sad. Sirens on my end.
Well, there's also a new generation of gamers too that have grown up with, this is stuff that means a lot to us older folk, but there's a whole new, Last of Us is what, 10 years old now? like there's people that are like in their early 20s now that played that are going to be having that disposable income for games like that and IPs like that. So the window, I don't think the window is ever going to close.
No.
But it is like, it's a lot to juggle from a business standpoint as well, trying to keep up with the newer generation as well.
Yeah, well,
I just think about more recently, you've got Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, which was like, when you think of like arguably one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made, and they rebooted it and they knocked it out of the park, is like such a feat, right? And then like in the movies, again, questionable what people felt about it, but like Alien Romulus has just come out, and the director spoke about that for a lot of people, it's going to be the first time they've gone to the theater to see an Alien movie. Like they've never seen a xenomorph on the big screen before, and like it's so exciting to like introduce a new generation to these like IPs that are beloved for. I mean, it still blows my mind that the original Alien is from the 70s. And actually, Aliens came out the year.
Was it 70?
78? Oh,
9.
Maybe a bit earlier. Oh, yeah, 9, yeah. And then Aliens came out the year I was born. And my dad was telling me he went to the cinema, the movies, with my mum to watch it, and while she was pregnant with me, and I was kicking a lot, and I was like, "That's the last thing you want watching an Alien movie is a baby inside you, like kicking." Yeah, so like there are those reboots. There's a game that's not on this list, and it's by that game company that I do think maybe they weren't first party, but they were definitely exclusive. But that game company who did Journey.
That game company, yeah.
That one, yeah, that game company, yeah.
I was wondering I was wondering what you were gonna say. I was like, is he gonna go there? Like, is it gonna be that game company, or is it gonna be something else?
that game company. And I know Journey on its own, like, do we think about IPs? They could be a singular game. I mean, I think they could be, but like, obviously they've made a lot of games that are similar, and we've seen things like what's happened with Tetris Effect and Res Infinite. I feel like Journey kind of fits into that, which is the experiential kind of games that really get deeper with the immersion. And Journey VR, the bit where you're just like skating down the sand, would just be.
Yeah. I mean, it was an emotional journey, no pun intended, or I guess pun intended. In third person flat screen, to do it in first person VR, absolutely. It would be even more. It'd be even more impactful. Guys, let's tackle a couple more tips, and then we'll play some 5-minute challenge. We'll get out of here. We got Johnny Rypop the Stray Cat with the Canadian 279. It says Heavenly Sword sequel with another movie. I mean, who can argue with that? That's also your quota for the day, right? No more Heavenly Sword. Pietrek F with the 30 plantains. Click. Problem is Sony not doing old IPs like Days Gone 2, SOCOM, Killzone, Last of Us 3, but instead doing terrible new games as service IPs like Concord, Destruction All Stars, etc. I think most of us agree that this was a very hard lesson for Sony to learn. They were like, well, we just need one amazing games as a service game to take off, and we'll make billions of dollars, and it'll be amazing. We'll have our own Fortnite, and they learned very quickly with Concord. This is not the way forward. This is not what we look to Sony for. So it's really sad that it cost Sony a lot of time and money and a lot of people, almost a decade of their life making this game, and then no one cared. I think that's really sad, because think about all the games we could have gotten from that team if they were just allowed to do something that maybe they wanted to do. I don't know the full story behind Concord. I just know how it turned out and that no one was happy with it. So. We got Twitcher the Deuce Juice Gamecat with the $5 says, not a Sony IP, but I know, not a Sony IP, I know, but Oddworld VR would be a dream come true. You. For sure, man. Oddworld is great.
Whatever they say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the many things. Oddworld was great. I saw a lot of people, more sirens on my end, Jesus. I saw a lot of people mention a lot of great games in the chat that weren't Sony IPs, but it's been a nice little trip down memory lane because of all the amazing retro games that have been mentioned, old forgotten IPs. It's been nice. Grandpa's Barbecue or GameCat with the Australian $2 says the GTA IP succeeds because of the time in between games. Yeah, to a degree, right? But mostly because it's just an insanely popular game, and it's the number one selling game for years between releases. They've just no one can compete with what they're doing. It's crazy. Mal with the $2 tip says, "Did Dale Cooper influence your love for coffee, Bri?" No, but David Lynch influenced most of the other things in my life. That's for sure. Magnum Gaming with the $5 tip says, "Would it be possible for PlayStation 5 Pro to have an open OS where UEVR can be used?" Anything's possible. But,
Anything is possible.
But Sony wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, that is. There are some things that are not possible, and that is definitely one of them.
So Sony.
I think Stephen Hawkins wrote it in his book about the universe. There was a line in there about, and impossibility is, you can't escape a black hole and run Unreal Engine VR injector on a PS5 Pro.
Prozac.
I read it. I'm pretty sure he wrote that.
Prozac 380 with the $5 tip says, "Survived Madison with no more stains in my undies than were already there, but I have no clue what it was about. Looking forward to your spoilercast." Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, because we have theories, that's for sure. And I'm pretty committed to mine. I thought that I really understood it and really, and the VR implementation took it so much further. But we'll talk about it. I'm so excited to talk about that game.
I look forward to being a fly on that wall.
Living Legend with the Canadian $2 tip says, "Dude, where's Tiny Tank, Jersey Devil, Bloody Roar 2? Yeah, where are they? Not Sony IPs to my knowledge, but I was playing Tiny Tank not that long ago. Game fucking fun still. The music is great. And then Stafu
makes too much sense in VR.
Dude, in VR for sure. Like I don't need another flat screen Jet Moto game, but in VR,
no.
That electric grappling hook, that would be. Yeah. I feel like I would get VR whiplash.
Get adaptive triggers as you grapple.
Yep.
Yes.
Snafu with the $2 tip says, "I'd love VR Siphon Filter all day."
I'd take it.
Yeah.
Like Siphon Filter, I always thought was like a solid game, like an okay game. It's simple fun.
Peter the Underground Gamecat on Parole with the $2 tip says, "Imagine if Inzoi came to VR." Why? This is ringing a bell, which I'm.
Is that not that game company? No, it's not. Oh, Inzoi is not what I was thinking of.
Oh, it's not ringing a bell. A life simulation game where the player can alter any aspect of their world to create unique stories.
It's got a cat on the front. Sold.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
So calm. Yeah, we didn't even mention did we even mention Resistance and Killzone?
I mean, it was in the list, but did we talk about it? No.
We didn't, but
they're too obvious.
Those are givens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
I think you could really reboot the Resistance world and expand upon it in a really amazing way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I even put Warhawk on the list. And Starhawk, obviously. I mean, there's just so many. There's so many. I miss the days.
Where are the games? Where are the games? Where are the IPs?
I miss the days when Sony was way more experimental, where they didn't mind taking risks, where Puppeteer was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, just these awesome games that are lost to time. Yes, Dreams was amazing.
Dreams came out just a little too early.
That's right.
They should have just fucking made it a PS5 game.
PS5, PSVR2. Yep, would have been amazing.
Oh, we'd be set for life.
We would be. All right, guys. It's time for a 5-minute challenge. I've chosen a game. Went on super hard mode today, so watch your butts. You have 5 minutes, and you get all the help in the world from the chat. Infinite number of questions. I just got to put the timer up on the screen. Let's do this thing. Help these guys out, guys. Suggest a lot of good questions and give good answers based on the answers I give. On your mark, get Des, go.
Is it a shooter?
Nope.
Is it on PSVR2?
Nope.
Didn't think so. Does it support the Move controllers?
Yep. Oh, wait, why am I counting? Doesn't matter.
No.
You're gonna run out of fingers.
Old habits die hard.
Just an excuse to show my feet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
Is it scary?
No.
Is it creepy?
Yeah.
Is it what?
Creepy.
Creepy. Good.
Or supposed to be creepy.
I mean, listen, it's not in the horror genre, but I would say that there are parts that are supposed to be a little on the creepy side. But I don't want to steer in the wrong direction, so kind of no.
Was it blurry?
No.
Was it a good game?
Yes.
Is it a puzzle game?
Yeah, I would say there's.
Then
definitely
it's
some
not
puzzles.
a good game, Brian. You
Okay.
lie.
All right.
Does it take place indoors?
Yeah.
And you said it uses the Move controllers.
Does it use DualShock as well?
Nope.
Just the moves, it sounds like. Oh.
Is it colorful? Is there a lot of vibrant colors in it?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, I might know this. Is it node teleportation?
Node. I mean, no.
Oh.
No, node.
Node, it's not.
Node, it's not.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Some of
Is
the
it sci-fi?
comments in the chat. Yeah. Is it sci-fi?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It is sci-fi.
Not on PSVR2, people.
Is it story driven?
More sirens. Yes.
Is it written by Rob Yescombe?
It's written by Rob Nocombe. No. So no, not Rob Yescombe. It's not the Invisible Hour. Sorry, guys.
Have they gone for a realistic aesthetic?
Yeah.
Okay. Normally I make notes of all the answers, and I haven't, and it's made it a lot harder.
Do you manipulate time at all?
To manipulate time. There's time involved. I don't know if you're manipulating time.
Okay. Like every game has time.
like real life has time. No, there's definitely there's a time element. Whether you're manipulating it or not is a different question. But yes, there's time. Yeah, time manipulation. Let's go with yes. I'm reading too much into your questions. So yes.
Are you on a boat at any point in the game?
Yeah. There's a boat.
Are you surviving a cataclysmic event that is coming? Are you trying? Do you observe? In the story? Is there a cataclysmic event that's occurring?
I don't think so. But now I'm questioning everything I know about the game. Maybe there is. I don't know. Maybe.
Do you follow different characters in this game?
Yes.
Do you bop reptiles on the head with a paddle at any point?
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's narrowed it down to, I think, maybe 10, 20 games.
Right. It's clearly the PSVR1 version of Kayak.
Yeah.
You said yes to bopping reptiles on the head?
Yeah.
Yes, you did say.
I have no. You just fucking lost me. I have no idea.
Oh, is it Wanderer, Brian?
Yeah. It's Wanderer.
Oh.
I tried to fool you guys by saying it was hard mode and then giving you a really easy game.
You sneaky little devil.
Right, coming out October 12th, 2022 from Mighty Eyes. It is Wanderer, which is not currently on PSVR2. If you asked me if it was coming, that would have been a different answer.
Okay.
And also very on brand for the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of when you bop a reptile on the head.
It's very early on.
That's why I changed my question to "Can you?" because I know it's optional.
Okay.
Oh, is it optional? I thought the Gators would get the boat if you didn't do it.
Oh. Okay.
Can't you use? I don't know if you can use other items instead, or maybe not.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh no, bopping the person that's driving the boat is optional.
Okay. That's beginning, guys. It's not a huge spoiler, so it's in the trailer.
Sorry, spoilers.
That's a good one. That was probably one of the best questions you could ask, Miles. Good job.
That's all right.
It's pretty good.
When in doubt, just ask if bopping reptiles on the head with a paddle.
I'll have to remember that.
But yeah, it solves me in so many situations in life.
Oh yeah, this is where the port shovel came from. In my review, totally smacked the woman across the face with the shovel.
That was it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Pietrek F with the 12 plantain says AJ Returnal's just yet another boring ass roguelike. Wow.
You take that back. Returnal's actually like
Such a
my
good
favorite PS5 game without VR.
Without VR, huh? Oh, that's a tough one.
I mean Rebirth is out now, so maybe that is, but up until Rebirth, Returnal, I think Returnal is the best original new game on PS5.
Well, Astrobot's coming to take that title soon enough, so you just wait.
Not
there,
original,
young man.
It's a VR remake.
No, Jesus.
It's a VR to Flat Studios game.
What's the opposite of VRAF? FSAF, flat screen as fuck.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out today. We love you so very much. This was a fun trip down memory lane, talking about some old Sony IPs. It was really awesome. We like doing this only once a week. I like miss seeing my co-hosts. I miss hanging out with you guys. It kind of sucks. So make sure you come over to Discord so you can hang out every day, because I just can't get enough. But yeah, again, make sure you subscribe to AJ. He's going to stream No Man's Sky tonight. Subscribe to Miles. He's going to stream every game eventually. And also Wes, he's not here, but they talk about all VR games and not just PSVR2 over on Virtual Strangers. Join our Discord. Just come follow me on Blue Sky. Let's make that thing happen. Guys, I love you so much. Thanks for all the people who make this channel run, like Rody, who puts up the timestamps after every single show. Rypop, who puts this up on podcast services of your choice. Everyone who tips during the show, everyone who supports me on patreon.com/withoutparole everyone who hangs out, shoots the shit, comments, helps during 20 questions, and of course, everybody who sits back and watches the show, doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We love you just as much. Here it is, you guys. Your clip of the week, courtesy of Jay, the foveated, rendered Gamecat. This is the wrong fucking video. I can't believe it. How did I screw this up? Oh, here it is. Oh, is it going to work? Here it is. All right, guys.
Super relatable.
What's
Super
what?
relatable.
Absolutely. I mean, who didn't get caught with their pants down in Arcade Paradise? No, is that not a thing?
Yeah, no, it happened.
All right,
And
you guys.
game, yeah.
We've got we've only got about another minute here before we're gonna get out of here. But let's take a quick look at what's happening in Without Parole history a couple years ago. I'm trying to find out when it's going to be. Let's see, 9/4, right? September 4th for all you Europeans. We can go last year, or we can go 2021. What do you want to do?
Let's see what happened last year.
All right, here it is. New trailer and release date for Fast Travel's Vampire, plus updates on Firewall and Crossfire. Was this after we knew what a shit show Firewall was going to be, or before?
I think this was after Firewall was a shit show, because those in Crossfire were summer. What I do remember as well is Vampire Masquerade Justice ended up being really awesome, and I really liked it.
Yeah,
it came out a little bit late when we needed when we had to survive and endure through another Halloween drought. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year, but Vampire at least made up for it after.
Sorry, Chris Fortenberry, no Q in the cat this week. We're on a little bit of a time crunch here. We had a longer show than expected, so we got to bounce. But guys, have a great night. We love you all. Meow.
Have a good one.